So, today we're going to take a look at a leader who really changes the game when it comes to human resources. This isn't just about managing people, this is about being a strategic force in a business. Let's get into the career of Sitti Fatimatus Shaheedah. And here's the big idea, the main takeaway from all this. Her role goes so far beyond what we traditionally think of as HR, you really have to see her as a business architect, someone who's actually designing the people strategy that makes a company win. All right, let's kick things off with a few numbers that just, wow, they really set the stage. First up, over 26 years in HR leadership, we're talking more than a quarter of a century of experience, moving from the nitty-gritty tactical stuff all the way up to high-level strategic planning for the entire company. Okay, now let's crank up the complexity, right? We're not just talking about one location. She's had direct responsibility for HR operations in more than 30 countries. I mean, think about that. Navigating all those different cultures, labor laws, and business dynamics. It's incredible. And the scale? How many people are we talking about here? She's been responsible for workforces of over 10,000 employees across the globe. To manage at that level, you need ironclad systems and a really deep understanding of how big organizations tick. So, with that foundation, let's dig into the three big pillars of her leadership. So our first pillar is all about her being an architect of business transformation. This is where HR stops being just a support function and becomes one of the key drivers when a company is going through major change. So what are we actually talking about when we say business transformation? Well, think about the biggest, most disruptive changes a company can go through. We're talking mergers, acquisitions, huge restructuring. The whole goal is to steer the ship through those choppy waters, making sure you don't lose your best people and that the culture holds together. And this is where you see she has a real playbook, you know? It's not just making it up as you go. At FWD Takaful, for example, during a huge post-merger integration, she rolled out this exact three-step process. First, you figure out what the real root cause problems are. Then, you put in place a new operating model, which is basically the blueprint for how the company will work now. And finally, you actively push for the cultural change needed to bring two different companies together. It's a smart, structured way to handle chaos. And here's the proof in the pudding, right? This is where the rubber meets the road. During her time at CMEX, she didn't just manage change, she literally created value. She went in and settled these long-running labor disputes. Some of them were nearly a decade old, and in the process saved the company 88,000 ringgit. That's turning a huge headache into a financial win. Let's move on to our second pillar, because this really builds on the first one. It's her mastery of global scale and complexity. You know, it's one thing to be good at HR in one place, but it's a whole other ballgame to do it across different countries and different kinds of businesses. I mean, look at the sheer range here. We're talking about totally different worlds. From a nimble little SME to a highly structured government-linked company to a massive global conglomerate, she's shown time and again that she can tailor the HR strategy to fit perfectly, no matter how big or how different the organization is. This image really nails it. It's like she's the conductor of this massive global orchestra. At Sandvine, she was the senior HR director for a huge region, Asia Pacific, the Middle East, and Africa, juggling the needs of over 30 countries. That meant orchestrating everything from smoothly transferring employees after a merger to making sure the company was compliant with dozens of different local laws. Okay, now this next one is a huge deal. At Hartalega, she was handed this massive challenge, clearing 150 critical compliance issues related to the International Labor Organization standards on forced labor. Let's be clear, this wasn't just ticking boxes on a checklist. This was about protecting the company's name and reputation on the world stage. It was a high-stakes, brand-saving mission. That brings us to our third and final pillar, and this one is all about the future. We're talking about being a data-driven innovator. This is about taking HR out of the old world of paperwork and into the new one, using technology and data to make the whole organization smarter and faster. You gotta love a good before and after, right? And this one, it really tells a story. At Hartalega, she walked into a situation with seven different HR systems that didn't talk to each other. It was a mess of manual work and scattered data. She spearheaded a project that cleaned it all up, streamlining it down to just 2 integrated systems. The result? One single source of truth for all employee data and a simple single sign-on. That's a massive leap forward in efficiency. So where does she focus her innovative energy? This chart breaks it down perfectly. Yeah, automation is a big piece of the pie, getting rid of repetitive work.
But look at that next slice, human capital ROI analytics. This is the real game changer. It's about using hard data to prove the financial return on what you spend on your people. It's about speaking the language of the C-suite and showing how HR drives the bottom line.
Okay, so let's tie all of this together. What's the bottom line here? It paints a really clear picture of a leader who isn't just managing the company for today, she's actively building it for tomorrow. She is, in every sense of the word, a future-ready partner.
And this really makes you stop and think, doesn't it? It leads to a pretty crucial question for any company out there right now. With everything changing so fast with AI and Industry 4.0, is your team actually ready for what's coming? Do you have the right people and the right skills to not just survive, but to thrive?
And that question, that's exactly her sweet spot. This is what she does. She architects solid succession plans so you're never caught off guard when a key leader leaves, and she uses strategic planning to predict the skills you're going to need years from now. It's all about building a company that's not just successful today, but is resilient enough to handle whatever the future throws at it. So, the main takeaway here is pretty simple, but it's powerful. Leaders like Sitti Fatimatus Shaheedah prove that HR is so much more than a support role. They are strategic partners who create value, manage incredible complexity, and get organizations ready for the future. They're the ones architecting tomorrow's talent today.